Today we are going to throw asteroids on each other. Not real asteroids though, because that would be both really hard to do and quite dangerous, I presume. But we're going to throw these die on each other. These will represent asteroids. We will be playing cards from our hand, grabbing one of these die and trying to get the target that matches our cards. At the end of the game, we will get some scores that we have saved on some cards, hopefully, and the one with the most points will win the game. Today I'm going to show you how to set up this quite unique game and also how to play it. So sit down and tag along. The setup of this game is ridiculously fast. You simply place the 5 die in the middle of the table and then you place out the 5 different decks around the die with the backside facing up. Now each player gets to choose one of these decks. So once we have gone through what must be the fastest setup in the world, we are ready to start playing. We got the die in the center of the table and we got our deck on our hand. Now these decks are identical, so they pretty much represent your player color. And this game is played out during 3 different steps. During the first step, you need to choose one card from your hand, and then play it out face down in front of you. When all players have placed out their cards, we are ready to reveal whatever we have chosen. But what do the different cards actually represent? On these cards, you will see some die. These die will correspond with the die that you have out on the table. In the bottom left corner you will see a number. This is the number that you will score at the end of the game if you manage to get that card. But in the decks you also have 2 special cards. This is the Asteroid and the other one is I Can't Decide. What these 2 means I will show you in a bit. So in step 1 we reveal the cards, but in step 2 things can get quite messy. Because if you have a matching card with another player, meaning that you played the same color die, you now go into a brawl. This means that if I play a yellow die and another player plays a yellow die, I need to grab the yellow die as soon as I can and try to hit my opponent. I got him. If you are the winner of the brawl, you get to take the loser's card, and you also get to keep the die that you chose in front of you. But if you are the loser, however, you of course lose your card to the winner. And when you get to choose your die, you get to choose last. But if you played Asteroid, you will actually keep the card. But what is the Asteroid? Well, Asteroids are nasty cards. Because when you add up your player's score at the end of the game, any Asteroids cards in your pile will suck up the highest value card into a void, meaning that you will of course lose those points. So when you brawl you can just go crazy, right? Well, not really, because if you grab the wrong die when you want to brawl, or if any of the players grab a die before any brawls are completed, there will be a penalty, and that penalty is quite strong. Because the highest scorecard from that player's score pile is removed from the game. And if a brawler throws the wrong die on their opponent, they will instantly lose that brawl. So be sure to pick the right die before you go all crazy. So if 2 players are playing matching cards, a brawl will happen. They will take a die and they will throw it at each other. The winner will get the cards, if it's not a Asteroid, remember? But what happens if you play a card that no one else plays? Well, in that case, you will simply have to wait. And you will have to wait until the brawl has been done. And then you get to choose one of the die that are left out on the table. But we still have one special card that we haven't talked about. And this is the one where you cannot decide, remember? The I Can't Decide card will let the players pick any die, but only after the die cards have been chosen. It will also give you the option to re-roll your die at the end of Roll and Collide round. Plus, it will give you 6 points at the end of the game, which is quite a lot. So this will mean that winners of the Brawl would get to pick a die first. Then any unmatched cards would get to choose. After that we would have the special card I Can't Decide, who would get to choose. And lastly, anyone who played a Asteroid card would get to choose any die that is left out on the table. They did quite good anyway, right? So that was step number 2. And that is a crazy step. We will be throwing die at each other, we will be dodging, we will be grabbing die when the brawl is over, we will hopefully get some scores. That is a lot of things that is happening during step number 2 in this game. But it's a lot of fun, I promise you, it really is. Now, when we go into step number 3, things calm down a little bit, because now we are only going to roll our die. But if any player have a Asteroid card, we first need to resolve that card. Because now the player who have the Asteroid card must call out a number between 1 and 20. 6! If that number is rolled at any time during this round, a black hole will open up and the round ends with all the cards in play being discarded. The Asteroid player then adds their Asteroid card to another player's score pile. You are welcome, my friend. So now we go into step number 3, and this is roll your die step. The player that has the die with most sides on them gets to roll first, and they simply roll their die out on the table. Now it's time for the player who has the second most sides on their die, and then they roll. And you are of course allowed to knock over your opponent's die, because whoever gets the highest amount on their die at the end of the roll step is the winner. And the winner gets to take all of the other cards that are in play and place them in their score pile. If there have been a Asteroid card played during this round, the winner also gets to take that card and place it in another player's score pile. The card that they have on their hand actually goes back on their hand again, and now we are ready to go another round. When a player is out of cards on their hand, the game ends, and it's time for us to calculate scores. Now all the cards that we have on our hands or in front of us will go into our score pile. But how do we know how many scores we have received? Well, let's take a look at that. Now we need to add up the numbers in the bottom left corners of your cards in your score pile. And that result will become your score. Just remember that if you have the Asteroid card on your hand, that one will remove your highest number score from your result. If there would be any ties, we of course resolve this by doing a Brawl duel. Players will take their die in their hand, standing back to back, walking away from each other, and on 1, 2, 3 they will turn around and throw dice at each other. The one that managed to hit the other player is now the winner of the game. That is a brilliant way of resolving ties. We should add that in more games. And that, my friend, is how you play Asteroid Die. This game is just so much fun. I played this earlier today with my kids, and we just had the most fun that we've had in ages. I mean, these little squishy balls here won't hurt anybody. You sit down and you have a good game of just fun, trying to get scores, trying to get your little opponent hit by your die. It's a beautiful family moment. And there is also a fireball expansion, where you are throwing fireball die on each other instead. Here basically the rules are the same as in the base game, but here 2 people cannot use the same card. So if multiple of people choose to play the fireball, well, all of them will just need to go nuts in a big brawl throwing fireballs at each other. And also the winner of that brawl gets to take all of the 8 fireball to roll in the roll phase. Plus in the expansion here you of course also get some new and more hot cards. So there you have it, my friend. That was Asteroid Dice. This is just an awesome, cool, and funny game. It is such a nice little way to change a board game, to make it interactive, to make friends become enemies but still friends. I mean, this is a friendly competition game, and it's just fun to go all in, try to hit your opponent. And when you play this game, you don't need to sit down during the brawl. I mean, you could stand up, you could roll around on the floor, you could run around in the house if you want to. Everything is allowed when you are trying to hit your opponent, which is just, it's so much fun. I really like this game. This is live on Kickstarter right now. There will be links down in the description if you want to know more about it. What I had here today is, this is just a prototype, so some things might look a little bit different, the dice probably, but when it comes out, when you have it on the table, it will look a little bit more different than what I have here today. If you want to know more about it, click the links, go in and have a look at it. If you like my video, my friend, please give it a comment, give a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, but most importantly, do not forget to keep on spreading that board gaming love that I know you all have.